So I work in India, and we have a large coastline. And throughout the country, we have several challenges. But first and foremost, that we are seeing is a rapid increase in sea level rise that is coupling a lot of other problems. So when you have this rapid increase in sea level rise and you have an increase in sea surface temperature, what happens is that the cyclones and the extreme weather events become very pronounced in the region. And this essentially leads to other problems such as increase in salinity, decrease in freshwater flow, and it becomes a very cascading issue. And then all problems kind of become very primary for us to focus on. So with Coast Predict, I think it's an amazing initiative to finally bring into focus the coasts, uh, which in itself are very dynamic, both environmentally, but also because throughout the world, maximum number of people are dependent on the coastlines for survival, either directly or indirectly. So you have a large density of population living in the coast and have very basic facilities to lead their day-to-day lives. And we know that no matter the scale of climate change, they'll be the first people to be hit, but they're not the people actually who are causing the climate to change so drastically. So it's very disproportionate between the people who are facing the challenge versus people who are actually causing the problem. I think a solution that I'm very keen to have picked up in India is integrated mangrove aquaculture. So herein we are actually allowing people to make aquaculture farms. So this does a couple of things. It lets people get a livelihood, so they are more cooperative with the government and the scientists. At the same time, it helps us monitor the region, so we know exactly how much has been converted to aquaculture, how much of mangroves are growing around the aquaculture, so that helps to rejuvenate the blue carbon of the region. Uh, Obviously, it adds to the economy, but it also stops people from actually cutting down the trees because now they have an alternate form of livelihood. What we have also done very successfully in India is that we have rejuvenated the existing aquaculture farms. So with this technology that has actually existed for a while now, what used to happen is that once the pond used to dry up, people would move on. But now we have technology that the aquaculture farmers can themselves implement on ground to rejuvenate their pond back to its original state. So they don't have to go looking for newer areas. They don't have to cut newer plants to make ponds. Yeah, so with this meeting, I think what is most fabulous is that you get an opportunity to actually come forward and present your work. But what I think sets apart the Global Coast meetings are that you are allowed to give perspective of what is the science going on the ground, and nobody expects you to just show graph after graph harping the amount of brilliant science that you're doing on the ground. So we are actually looking for ways to connect our science to the people on the ground to see what would be the impact of what we are doing today in the next 10 years or 20 years, or maybe till the end of the decade, if we give ourselves a very short timeline to see what we are seeing now is going to span out till 2030 and actually quantify the ground effects with that of the science. So I'm a plankton biologist. I study two things. Firstly, I study ocean acidification. And the second thing I study is how diseases are spreading in coastal ecosystems with the changing climate. And we fear that we've seen an example of COVID, but we know that there are many other environmental diseases that would catch up very rapidly if we keep on going at the rate of climate change that we are going now. So we know that these diseases would just spread and we'll have no control because we'll have no understanding of how these diseases have spread to people or what is the level of damage that they can do. So that's my background.